Hello everybody. I'm going to be replacing the brake rotors and pads on the front end of my Accord, which is right there. It's an 05 LX 4-door with a 5-speed manual. These are the discs that I got and the pads. You can see the what do you call it, model number on there. So they're all EBC. And the reason I'm doing this is because as you'll see when we take the rotors off, they're rusted pretty bad and pitted and grooved and pretty much everything bad. A little bit warped. So this is what the new ones are. They should be a lot better. They shouldn't rust either. Well, where the pads don't hit anyway. But then the pads, if I can figure out how to open it. Got me some more decals. Brake caliper lube, some shims, other stuff. I got the red stuff pads and they have a braking coating on them. So they're supposed to brake in quicker and have full braking power right away out of the box. So let's get started. So we got all the lug nuts off. This wheel cover is actually held on by the lug nuts, so it's a little different on the Hondas. The wheel offset aside, you can kind of see why I'm replacing them. It's rusted pretty bad here, and it's actually, if you get like a tool or something, you can. They're just falling apart. This was a Minnesota car, so it got quite a bit of rust on things like this. I already did the rear brake drums because they were actually falling apart even more than this, but on the surface there's some grooves in there. It might be hard for you to see, but they're warped a little bit too. When you brake, the wheel shakes a tiny bit, so we're just gonna replace them because I use this car to pull a camper and pull a utility trailer, and we take it on long trips, so it needs to be safe. So I guess we'll start with taking these off and taking the caliper off. First thing, we don't gotta take anything off, we just gotta take these two, which they look like they're 14. Probably actually 17. Yeah. Honda doesn't use 15, 16, they go 14, 17, so that's why it's my next guess, and it's a 17. Honda usually uses 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, 19. The rest of them you don't need. This one's probably going to be pretty tough. I actually might get my breaker bar for this. Breaker bar and a persuader. Let's see. She's tight. Impact gun works really well for this. And I got a 17mm impact socket too. You can use normal sockets, but they tend to wear out a lot quicker. I'm going to take this off too because it's kind of in the way of the brake line hose. That should just be a 12. Use my hand, bad idea. It's spinning, but it's pretty tight. only bad thing about an air impact gun is it's very hard to get on in any spot. It's not really all the way on, but got it. It's always nice to see too, like it was a little corroded here, but Honda uses good bolts, so even though this car is 10 years old and everything else is rusted, the bolts look like brand new basically. One more. The lower control arm is in the way of the impact gun, so we're going to have to use this breaker bar. There, man. Got it. Alright, so this whole thing should just come off. Or just brute force it. Look at all the rust falling off of it. Yeah, these brake pads were getting bad. They were rubbing on this edge that's lifted up. So they're actually destroying the pads as well. Wow, they're really seized in there too, man. I still got quite a bit of pad left on them, but it's just time for new ones. So we'll just set this somewhere where it can't fall. Right back there on that lower control arm works good. Now we gotta get the disc off. To do that, we gotta get these little screws out here, which are a pain, but I have a special tool for it. This here is an impact driver, and it's amazing for getting like Phillips head screws out of something where they're stuck, because it goes in there and then you put a hammer on the end of it and it basically pushes this in and twists at the same time. Whereas now it's set to turn it in, so we need to go like that. So now when you hammer it, it'll actually loosen it and put pressure on it. So let's see if we can actually do this. Yeah, it's wrecking my bit. It's twisting the bit, which is not good. Yeah, it just destroyed my bit. That's not good. That means those things are stuck in there really well. So, as you can see, we've done some work. We finally got the rotor off, which is down here. And it was a lot of work. I had to drill these screws out, and I broke a screw off in these holes trying to get it off. But I got that out, and I got some better bolts that worked a lot better. And now I cleaned this surface off here to get rid of some of the rust and build up on there, which was holding the rotor on. And I was gonna take the whole hub off because I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to even get the rotor off of the hub. So I took the axle nut off, but I really didn't need to do that. So I'm just gonna put that back on, which I gotta find the torque for that, but for right now I just leave it like that. So we're ready to put the rotor on, but we still need to get the brake pads off. So I think we're going to do the brake pads before we get the new rotor on. I also picked up from Honda some more of those screws that hold the rotor onto here, the ones that I had to drill out, and they were 75 cents each. So you can see the part number right there. So they had those in stock because they're a pretty common thing to replace. So just got back from doing that. So now we're going to work on this. They should just pop right out, but as you can tell, they're in there pretty good. So we're going to need to persuade them with the persuader tool, which we may need to just take this off from this. I think that's going to work a lot better, even though I really don't want to, but we're probably going to have to. So we're going to have to take these bolts out here, and then I'll take the caliper off of the bracket. So I guess that's what we'll do next. Probably would have been easier to have this bolted on when I take it off, but I might just actually, let's get it twisted. I might just bolt this back on for the time being, so it'll be a little easier to put on. These, I'm assuming, are about 12. Yeah, everything is so solid. Alright, broke free pretty easily. Alright, got it. That came off easy. Set this back here. Actually, it's going to fall through. A little awkward. There. So this is a shim, which we got new ones with our new brake pads, so. Gosh, they are solid in there. That may be part of the problem, is that why they were not working very well. They don't move. That's pretty bad. You do not want them like that. You want them loose in there. Holy cow. So you can see that they're pretty grooved. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Don't mind the marks this way because that was me pulling it off, but you can see all these grooves like this, and right around this edge too. And this edge is where the rust was building up. So, yeah, that's not good. So now, we're pretty much ready to, I think we'll put the disc on, and then we gotta take this back off to put the disc on, but we'll put the disc on, and then we'll put this on, and then we'll put our pads in here, put some little lubricant in here. I might clean this up while it's off too, but these seem to be moving just fine, so at least they're still okay. So we really just want to clean up like these surfaces, and then we'll put some of that little lubricant in here because there's some rust in here. Yeah. So these rotors are directional. Not all are, but these ones are. They have an arrow right here pointing which direction they rotate. So make sure you get the right side on the right side. And then when you put it on, you need to line these up with the holes for the other stuff. So they'll go on like that, and that's actually still tight. So I might need to sand this surface down a little more because there's still a little bit of corrosion. It should go on easily, so let's see how that fits now. It looks pretty good. Why don't we try to put some screws on here? Shiny. Yeah, that sucked it right up there, so should be fine. Looks good. So what we'll do is actually use this to tighten them, so we just have to push it the other direction. And I know it's like bent, but we're going the other direction now, so it's actually going to grip a little better with it bent that way. So let's tighten these. There we go. Next, we need to put this bracket back on. It goes this way. So that's good. Now we need to put our brake pads on there. But first we want to put some of the lubricant. So put a little dab here. It kind of looks like it's a copper type of a lubricant. There we go. And that's it for that. There's a lot more pad material on there than the old ones. If you compare the two, the old ones were probably original, which is pretty amazing because this car has 160,000 miles on it. So probably will be a little better. So now we need to put the caliper back on, but in order to do that, we're going to need to push this piston back in. You want to apply even pressure over the whole piston too. You don't want to just push like on one edge of it, because that's not going to be good. So put like a piece of metal across it like that, and then push in the center of that. Should be enough. It's going to be tricky making it so that boot doesn't rub it. There we go. And like so. Put your screws in, and that's done. Just got to put this screw back in here. Put the wheel back on, but other than that, all done. Alright, should be all done. We just need to tighten this nut, but to get that off, you have to have a special tool called a huge impact gun, because those things have a torque of like over 200 foot-pound. Just hammer that little dimple back in so it can't come loose. Your punch this in. So it cannot come off. And you're good to go. So yeah, that's it for this side. Clean up all the rust on the floor, which is pounds of rust. But now we're off to the other side. So we got the rotors installed. The second one went a lot faster because I knew what I was doing and I knew what I had to do. So now we're just going to go for a test drive and see what it does. They say you're supposed to give 1,000 miles for the break-in. Yep, that's about it. Brakes seem to work okay. The brakes. So about it. So if you like this video, watch it, comment, like it, dislike it if you don't. Let me know. Bye.